Hi, I'm Latrina Patrick with Vision University, and we are making our way through the ABCs of grant writing. And today we have landed on the letter T. And the letter T is going to bring us to timeliness. So, the timeliness and being time sensitive in particular is very key in being a successful grant writer. So, let me talk to you a little bit about what that means. And so, with grants are very um, deadline driven. So, if you are someone who has a problem with deadlines, you're going to have a lot of problems with grant writing. So, it typically takes 30 to 45 days to submit a federal grant. That's at the high end level of grant writing. So if you are pursuing a federal grant, typically from the time the announcement is made and the RFP has been released, you are going to have about 45 days to get that application submitted. That's on average, and that's not a lot of time. So the clock starts ticking as soon as you decide that you're going to pursue that particular funding announcement. So you have to be comfortable with that, because if you are in an environment where you pursue a lot of grants, and especially a lot of federal grants, it's going to stay high stress. And if you can handle that, then this is a great field for you. But if you can't handle that, you're going to have some serious issues. Also, you have to ask yourself, do you work well under pressure? Because you're going to be under a lot of pressure in this field. And are you organized? Because the only way to get through this type of thing is being organized. You can't be a chaotic, frenzied grant writer. You may get things produced in that way, but it won't be very effective. You won't be very efficient. And I can assure you, for the most part, you won't be very successful in your outcomes as far as whether or not you get funded, because you have to be organized and stay focused to be able to put together everything you have to put together, especially for federal grants. If you're chaotic and all over the place and frenzied, you forget a lot of things and you skimp over really critical details. And in grant writing, details are important. And when you're frenzied, you don't pay attention to a lot of details. So that's why I said you're probably not going to be that successful overall. And then you have to be very systematic. If you are working in a time sensitive, time driven type of field, you have to be comfortable with creating systems to ensure that you meet your deadline. So from the time you sit down to decide, okay, we're going to go for this, okay, the clock is ticking, what we typically do as grant professionals is we look at that date that it's due. So say it's due June 15th. That's when it has to be in the system, uploaded and received. So you want to start backtracking from that date. You don't want to wait until the last minute to try to upload it. You know that if you have to have it at this drop dead time to be submitted on time, then you start backtracking to the days that you have to have it proofread, the days that you have to have the typical forms that you need signed by the authorizing official at the last minute. So all those things, you have to start backtracking your dates. And so you need to be very systematic. So it's more of a system and a process, as opposed to every time you get a grant, you're starting over from ground zero. That's never a good place to be. So be systematic. Ask yourself, am I systematic, or can I get there? And then do you have a support system that's going to facilitate that process? So when I was working as a grant writer in a larger environment where I was the staff grant writer and I had to write grants for various departments, well, I had a pretty good support system in place, because whatever department I was working with at that particular time, that becomes my team. I make them my team because I need to depend on them to get the things that I needed. So if you have those support systems in place, or if you are a freelancer and one man banding it, or if you plan to be a freelancer, you have to be able to set yourself up for success and making sure that you have people at your disposal, or people you can access to help you meet some of those deadlines, because you can't do it on your own. But if you have the right systems and the right supports in place, you will be much more successful as a grant writer. Now, finally, if you want more information about grant writing topics or things along this area, make sure you are subscribed to my email updates at Vision University. Once you go to the website, there's a subscription button that you can subscribe to my weekly emails I send out. That includes inspirational messages as well as other tutorials, also information about upcoming trainings and events on the calendar. So just make sure you stay informed and stay in the loop. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already done that. And you can access videos from there. I have tons of videos around this subject matter and others that you could probably find helpful. So I hope that you will indeed do that and that you will indeed stay in touch. And in the meantime, I want you to remember to create the vision for the life that you desire and you deserve, because you are the only one who can.